When I say double alpha flex holster, you're probably thinking that's just a gold-plated holster so you can flex with those fancy open guns, which is an awesome idea and I'm here for it, but that's not what it is. The double alpha flex is the next iteration of the race holster from double alpha for all you fancy race gun shooters. Are you ready? Stand by. Welcome back to the Humble Marksman channel, the only gun channel here on YouTube dripping with that BDE. That's right, Big Dad Energy. Christmas is just around the corner, and if you're just now starting to walk your kids up and down the toy aisle so they know what to ask for Christmas because their streaming services don't show ads for toys, go ahead and hit that like button. I'm David, and today we're looking at the Double Alpha Flex holster. So some of you are like, the Double Alpha X is already the most popular holster in IPSC and USPSA competition. Why do I need to upgrade? And I'll get to that as well. Those of you who are unfamiliar, the Double Alpha Flex is the latest generation of the Double Alpha race holster that is made specifically for competition guns, and it is a locking race holster. First and foremost, the Double Alpha Flex basically is like the Alpha X holster, which is a fantastic race holster. Now, why you would want a flexible fitting holster like this is because some guns like the CZ or CZ, for you people who live outside the United States, that's for you. For you people, especially on the CZs, those frames are cast and they are hand polished in their factory. So sometimes, depending on how heavy somebody leans on the polishing wheel, the trigger guard dimensions can be a little bit different. And to that point, on the website, there are multiple notes about how to get the holster block that you need for your Alpha X. Plastic grip gun guys aren't immune because depending on where the plastic frame is sourced from, the molds can be different, and as a result, there can be slight changes in the geometry of the trigger guard. So all that goes away with a flexible holster that you can adjust specifically to your gun. Sounds like it's something silly, but I can actually say that I appreciate this because I compete with Bull Armory Ultimate Racers that changed their plastic grip module in 2021. The Double Alpha block significantly predated that, so there was a little bit of wiggle in my Alpha X for this, and the thickness was a little bit more, so it kind of binded up a little bit more than I liked. But with the Flex, I'm able to dial in near perfect retention. Now, why would you care what the retention for the gun in the holster when it's unlocked should be? In a perfect world, you don't, because you always manage to hit the trigger guard lock exactly perfectly. But I've seen more than a few expensive race guns fall on the range when they weren't holstered correctly or locked into the holster. This should hopefully help with stopping that phenomenon, but we'll see. So how is the Flex different from the Alpha X? There's a couple important ways beyond just being adjustable for all that stuff. One thing that you may or may not have noticed is that the holster body is just a little bit wider and a little bit longer dimensionally than the old Alpha X. But also as a result of how the holster block is designed, the little lever that lets you lock the gun into the holster is now for right-handed shooters on the outside or right-hand side of the holster, whereas previously it was on the left side of the holster. And the net result of that is, in my opinion, a lever that's easier to engage and disengage. You can disengage this one on the draw a lot easier than the old one if that's something you're into. It takes a little bit of adjustment, and if you're used to Alpha X's like I was when I started messing with it, then it may take you a minute to get used to. The next difference is that there is a thigh pad that comes on the Flex right there out of the box, whereas the old Alpha X holsters, that was like a $16 add-on, and I would recommend if you've got an Alpha X and not a thigh pad, that's probably something you should check out because it makes life a little bit nicer, and that's kind of the name of the game when you're spending like 8 to 10 hours on the range for these big matches that we shoot. But more important than that, the hanger has been redesigned. You may remember there was the 2 A's on the old Alpha X hanger right here versus whatever this is going on, and that's because this little piece right here is now adjustable. You can see if I hold it with a straight drop, the belt is now angled. If I hold it with the belt level, then the holster is swept forward. That positions the thigh pad on your leg in a way that is, for me, significantly more comfortable. So if you're into on-the-range comfort, this reason alone is enough of a reason to pick it up other than the holster flexibility. So if you're a serious buyer of this, then you probably should go watch Saul's video on the Double Alpha website on how to adjust this thing. But if you're not serious, like summaries and mediocrity, then I'm going to tell you how to adjust the block, so buckle up, kiddos. 2 things to get started. You need about 5 to 10 minutes to fully adjust this block. The adjustability is roughly comparable with some of the better universal holsters on the market, and significantly easier than some of the other holsters that take significantly more cuss words to get put together. The Double Alpha Flex comes with 2 holster blocks versus like the nearly 50 that are available in the Alpha X configurations. There's a list on the website where you can see which block works with which gun. That's a good place to start, but what I would actually recommend if you're a serious buyer is to print out the sheet of paper that they have that allows you to test the fit of your gun in the holster blocks, as that's going to tell the tale. Now for my Bull Armory Ultimate Racers, this is using the A block, and in order to start putting the holster together, you're probably going to want to take it all the way apart to just the holster body being dismounted from the hanger itself. So with the block by itself, you're going to want to loosen the 2 spinny wheel things. That's the technical term, Saul told me it. So you loosen the 2 spinny wheel things so you can move them around in the track. You want them to firmly cup and support the trigger guard of your pistol, but with the lock in the down position, you're going to want to make sure that your pistol's grip does clear the mouth of the holster body and the block, so that's going to be the depth you want to set it to. Once you're satisfied with the support offered by the block, then you're going to cinch those 2 things down. From there, you're going to pick the side spacers, and they provide like a million different side spacers to choose from, and you're going to pick those side spacers that basically draw flush with the edge of the block. And then you're going to want to test fit them inside the holster body together with your gun. If it looks pretty good, but there's a little bit of wiggle, then you can use the provided shims to shim up the side. I ended up using 4 shims on my Ultimate Racer, and that gave me a basically custom fit with almost no play in the holster with the holster unlocked, which is pretty cool. From that point, you're going to have to lock everything down. So there are 2 screws that you'll have to tighten on the back of the body. There are the 2 screws on the side of the body. There are 2 more screws potentially that will end up being right there on the top of it. There's a 2mm spacer if you need to shim up how your dust cover meets the top of the holster. Then you can put it back on your hanger and get your hanger adjusted just like how you like it. Another difference that I didn't mention is that right out of the box, these things are going to be available in 4 different anodized colors since they are aluminum. You can get black, red, blue, and I believe a gray. Once you have it adjusted, you'll notice on the range that the Flex is just a couple clicks nicer than the Alpha X. They're not stopping support of the Alpha X, and honestly, if you're somebody who goes to the range and trains with more than 1 pistol, then the Alpha X is probably still a better choice for you, because removing the holster block requires removing 4 screws, not 2. Whereas the old Alpha X is always just those same 2 screws. The experience of shooting with the Flex is very similar to the Alpha X, but because the holster drop is adjusted a click forward, I think pretty much everybody's going to take that same adjustment. It's just nicer. You have better access to your front pocket. The thigh pad hits in a more comfortable area and kind of frees up the range of motion. When you're on the range all day, you begin to feel how your holster is pressing into your leg, and it kind of starts to bug you. What I've noticed is that I don't notice the press into my leg with the Flex as much as I do on the Alpha X, which the Flex is replacing for me. So it's a couple meaningful steps forward as far as the holster game is concerned. Thanks to Saul and the crew over at Double Alpha for sending this in so I can make the video for you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.